All right, so welcome to my full week of training. I just wanted to give you guys a full demonstration of what a week of training looks like for me. So to clear up a lot of questions, queries about what it looks like. So here we go. So this was done all in one day. I was on the road in Croatia. So this was just get an example of how you can get, an entire week of training done in one single session. And I think you'll see that the total length of this video comes in at under 15 minutes. So when I say that training takes less than 20 minutes, half an hour a week, I'm serious. So if you add in, I think added in with rest and everything, this was just about a 40-minute session. So gives a bit of context to what I mean when I say how long things take us. So the point with this, so normally how I do training is I'd split up, we've got 5 movements. I would normally split up the push-ups and the rows, so the horizontal pushing and pulling, into one day. I do vertical pushing and pulling, so the handstand push-ups and the line-up chin-ups. I do that on another day, so maybe Monday and Thursday, and then some other day in between there I put legs, so I do my squats, say on maybe a Wednesday or a Tuesday. This is to demonstrate, though, that when it's convenient, it doesn't really matter how you split these over the week. I think that separating the pushes and the pulls into 2 different parts of the week is nice in that it gives those muscles more time to recover between doing different movements. It's probably better for gains because you're spreading out that stimulation over the week. So you have the time, you may as well break things up. It's also just mentally easier to do it that way. You don't have to bite off as much in one single go, and it's also quicker because you're not waiting around for your body to recover between movements. It's much more efficient if you just go and do 1 or 2 movements and then leave, especially if you've got your ring set up somewhere easy at home. But this works when you need it to, just cramming it all into one. So this is me just training the push-ups, the planche push-ups. I'm just going as hard as possible. You saw at the start me doing some sort of static holds there. I'm basically just trying to push, put a heap of focus into the planche position, the straight arm position at the beginning when I'm freshest. And then the rest of the time here, one thing you notice about all this training, it looks sloppy and it looks sort of weird. The point is purely on force output and maxing out. So a lot of my training won't look that nice, but it's effective. I've given up on form a long time ago. In terms of looking pretty, this is hard work and this is the work that gets you gains. So we're starting with the planche push-up work. I think at this time I'm pretty tired. With all my training, I'm just going to the point where I'm exhausted and can't give it 100% effort anymore. And then I'm going to go rest and wait till I feel ready for the next movement. So because I was doing all these movements together in one day, I started with the hardest, like the most mentally taxing movement. So I moved on as my pull. I moved on to the chin up. So I'm always going to alternate. If I'm doing movements in the same session, I'm going to alternate pushing and pulling movements. So here's me moving on to the one-arm chin up training as my pull of the day. Again, just starting as heavy as possible and continuing to work as heavy as possible. If I get stuck, I'm helping myself. It's really simple, this training method. It's just like start at 100%, remain training at 100% through like every centimeter of every rep. You'll see me forcing myself down there when it's too easy and I can hold. I'm like adding in extra resistance, making it tougher. At home, I'd use a dumbbell between my legs, but I figured I could just do this. And this whole workout is just done with gymnastics rings, so it also shows you that if you have very minimal equipment, you can really get all your training done with just this bit of gear. This is just in my backpack. When I'm on the road, it means I can train whenever. It's really convenient. So I'm just continuing to go. If I was at the point where I wasn't strong enough to do these assisted sort of chin-ups assisted with my hands, I could just have the rings lower so I can reach the ground with my feet. And you saw on the push-ups, when I got too tired, I can just bring my feet in again on the ground to help myself. So all these movements scale down to 0. Where I'm training is just like near my limit, and then obviously getting lighter as I get weaker. But everything can be trained from wherever you're up to. So both of these scale, down further. You'll probably notice I'm getting about 3 or 4 reps on these movements. I think it was about 3 or 4 push-ups and then maybe 2 or 3 chin-ups each side. That's about how long it usually takes me at this pace that you see me working here. But yes, the way that we figure out how much volume to do, how many reps and whatever to do, is doing 1 set per movement per week. And that set's just, as you see me here, continuous max effort until the point of not being able to give it everything, not being able to like positively go in and be aggressively attacking it with 100%, sort of input effort. Once you get to that point and it's, Now, as soon as it becomes a grind or a drag to do any more, that's when I'm calling it quits. So it's very much auto-regulated. It's listening to your own emotional feedback system to tell you when the productive work is becoming not so productive. Which also means that training is always very fun because you're only there while you want to be there. I've just found this method to work the best for long-term progress. So yeah, you can see me grinding out handstand push-ups here. I'm sort of at the point where getting very close to all the 5 big long-term movement goals, which is cool because it's lining up with sort of the amount of muscle and everything that I thought I'd have by the time getting to these goals. You can see my other video, recent or coming soon on those movement goals specifically and why we've chosen them. But yeah, this is at the point of like nearly being on the cusp. I've gotten one-arm chin-ups for a bit. I've gotten handstand push-ups for a bit. I've got my straddle planche is nearly there. My front lever is pretty solid. So this is sort of where I'm at now. But again, you can scale these right down. So when these handstand push-ups get too tough, you'll see me just use the ground, my feet on the ground for more support. Again, just scaling down as needed. So this, again, isn't trying to show you how exactly all the training works. I'll do lots more videos on tutorials on how to train this, how to scale these, what the difficulty variables I'm using here are. This is just giving you a demo of like what is going on. This is literally what a week of training looks like for me, and this is how much I do. There's nothing else. In terms of strength work, dedicated, intentional exercise, this is it. The only other intentional exercise I guess I do is walking, and I'm doing some mobility stuff as well, but it's not super relevant to any of this strength gain stuff. In terms of rest times between sets, because I'm skipping that here for the sake of the video not being super boring, rest times are looking like 3 to 5 minutes minimum probably for most sets, but it can be up to days. The idea is that so there's 5 movements, each of those for the set of the movement you're going as long as you need, as I said, just to the point of not being able to get everything, so what you're seeing here. But between those sets, it doesn't matter. It can be literally 4 days rest, or it can be, so I was sort of saying the minimum of 3 or 5 minutes, that classic time for your body to get most of its basic recovery done and be able to go again. But I just sort of wander around and daydream until I feel like I'm ready to go again, give it my all on the next thing, and then I'll go. So that's handstand push-ups. So we've done 2 pushes, 1 pull, and then the last pull is the front lever rows. Again, I'm just sort of alternating push and pull, and then starting with the heaviest. So this is like, I find mentally the rows not to be too bad, so that's why they've been saved till last. And again, I'm just adjusting these constantly, keep it as heavy as possible, and I'm constantly rowing as hard as I can. Again, I'm not trying to show you how to do that here, but you can sort of see what it looks like for me at this point in my strength process, strength gaining career. So they're the main things I think to bear in mind. It's a pretty simple model. As I've gotten more experience with all this stuff, I've sort of like both simplified what I try and do, because that allows me to focus a lot more on actually progressing with these movements, and I've learnt to listen to my body more and take into account more of that emotional like auto-regulation feedback, because I've realized how smart the body signaling is and how much more efficient and easy and enjoyable progress can be when you actually like listen to what your body's telling you, rather than just thinking everything and ignoring it. So the most important thing with all of this is like and the reason that 5 movements, just cutting back to this little work, has worked so well is because you can see I'm gassed again here. I'm just considering whether I have the strength to do more. I'm not. The reason it works so well is because you're clear on these goals and that's all you're working towards, and there is no reason not to give it everything in your pursuit of those goals long term. Like I've been working on these for years now, and it's working, but it's not without intent. So with the squats, this is a weird example. I just thought I'd include it all for the sake of coherence and keeping it all in the one workout. I didn't have a door frame. I've been using a door frame and anchoring my foot to it to give me downwards force. So to add resistance here, I'll pull up with my other leg. So I'm basically working the single leg squat without weight vest or a partner as I used to. But you can see here all I'm doing is adding downward resistance by pushing up on the bar, and then in my head, I'm sort of trying to lift this entire framework off the ground. So this actually allows me to get to 100%. You can see I'm sort of gassed here already, and it looks kind of simple, but basically I'm just able to add enough downwards force with my upper body by pushing on this, or in the door frame example, pulling up on my other leg, that I can max out what the strength of my working leg, and just force it through the negatives, again loaded to maximum throughout the positives, and so I'm able to again work this at maximum effort through full range of motion the whole way. So it looks kind of random, but it works, it gets the job done. It just shows you that you can really, you can get all this work done with very minimal equipment. I just had a few bars here and my rings. All that matters is you find a way to leverage everything to get it to your max, and you just train it at your max for as long as you feasibly can. So I got again, normally with squats I get 1 rep a side and then I'm completely cooked. I think it's just due to your lower body having so much muscle mass in comparison to the upper body movements that it's taxing, and you finish quickly. But again, there's nothing wrong with doing very little work, because you can probably tell from my faces that I'm pulling and the reaction after that I'm feeling it. It's tough, it's a grind, and it's gassing me out. So yeah, it's really all about just that weekly minimum viable effort, not about time, just about showing up and giving it everything you've got in terms of intensity. So yeah, that's basically it. That's my week of training done in one session. It took me less than 40 minutes, and you can see from this video it's just over 12 minutes of work time. That's all it takes every single week if you just show up and give one maximum effort in terms of force output for as long as you feel like you can give it everything. That's all it takes to seriously build a body that's so much stronger, so much leaner, so much better looking and more functional than you wherever you're currently at. It shocks me how much I get out of this now, and I've been doing it for years. So hopefully this helps give you an idea, a bit more of an intuitive sense of what some good quality training looks like. If you found this interesting, please let me know. Drop me some questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. And then, head to my website for plenty of free info on how this works. I write about this regularly, and you can check some of my other YouTube videos as well. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what other sorts of videos you want to see, and I hope to see more of you guys giving this style of training a go yourself.